Leslie, it's great to meet you. Thank you for taking a minute out for the show today. I appreciate it.
Terrific.
So, before we get into your very busy life as an author, speaker, thought leader, there's a lot going on. I want to know, first and foremost, I know we're getting tired of talking about COVID, but it was such a big deal to get through that pandemic. It changed a lot. How did you survive it, and how has it changed the way that you live now?
Joe, it's a big question. And starting off, I'll tell you, we're not through it.
Right.
Um, People say post-pandemic, we are post the most serious parts of taking lives away, but we will live differently going forward. Um, I've been in business now almost 40 years. I've survived economic downturns, national disasters, natural disasters, 2008, 9/11, Katrina, all which impacted my business. But they lasted months, but not even a complete year in the recovery. We are in year 4 of this. Um, and I am finding myself, I've just actually had, you meet me in the month of epiphanies,
Yeah.
that my nature in supporting my clients is when they're in trouble and can't pay, I keep working and I don't bill them reflectively. Any debt that's incurred is on my side of the house. It's just how I've run the business. It's how I've gotten through these really critical times. Loyalty is one of my top values. So in each year, a new chunk, a new chunk, a new chunk, a new chunk couldn't pay. I just woke up in the last month. I always ask myself the question, who's really training whom in my household? Is it the dogs training me or me training the dogs? I've trained my clients that they can have 100% access to me and not need to pay.
Yeah.
So I've woken up in the fall and fourth quarter of 2024 going, back to business, girl, you need to ask. They can. So that's first and foremost. The pandemic will affect us. The biggest effect on my business is I was embedded in at least 10 companies as a trusted advisor to the C-suite. I do systems work, strategies, skills, leadership, management, shared culture, interventions. I know these companies deeply, and I think that's where I add the value. They are not bringing their workforces back to work, hybrid and remote. I do all my work in facilitation. I don't study them, give them the results, prescribe to them, and expect them to follow my lead. I help and guide people to discover what they need to do and then learn how to do it. And I don't let go of them. My nickname is to be a Sherpa guide. If you want to get to Everest, I know how to get there. I've been there many times. I know how to resource you. I know the dangers. I know when to tell you you can't go today. But because the landscape of the workplace world has changed so much, this not so young woman anymore, very young when I started the business, is not retiring and is reinventing, finding new relevancy, and really, really supporting the relationship she's always had. It killed my business model. It killed my clients, and I stood by them through thick and thin. So, two big things. Leslie's asking her clients to recognize her contributions, not reflectively, but in the here and now. And I was the cobbler's son, helping everybody else reposition, redesign, recover from one of the longest things that's affected us in the world. I was the cobbler's son. I was not spending as much time thinking my own business through. So you meet me at the end of the summer, and the summer was a calamity of crazy, unplanned interruptions, puppies being born, emergency surgery, credit cards being hacked, websites being stolen by foreign bodies. I couldn't have planned it. I recovered from it all. A tornado passed my home in Cleveland, Ohio. We don't get
Yeah.
tornadoes.
Yeah.
It's been a whirlwind, literally, but I pivoted and focused on what I needed to do. I will recover and enter 2025 strong. But boy, the lessons never stop raining down upon us, no matter how old we are or how much experience we have.
So let me ask you this: as someone that's obviously highly driven and successful, what was your dream as a child? What did you want to be when you grew up?
Oh my gosh. Dream as a child. Oof. Help. I'm a helper.
Yeah.
Um, I have a strong belief that the formative experiences you have in your lifetime can mold you into the person you become, some of which should be strengths that you amplify and some patterns you should let go. I had two good parents who were unhappily married, and I was the child who was born last after a child was lost. So my family was experiencing trauma every single day of the world. And I was born into the shoes of my brother that I never met and into the healing of that system.
Wow.
I am in the business of healing systems, seeing systems, helping systems survive and thrive and employ great people. I didn't know I had the superpowers to do this till I was in my early 20s. People always remarked my optimism, my determination, my great empathy as a child, but I am who I am because of the formative experiences I had as a young child, as a growing person. And even today, rescuing a dog, rescuing my mother from a locked dementia ward when she didn't have dementia, and taking her in her last year of life, and then rescuing myself when I gave it all and was physically depleted, all make me who sits across from you today via technology. Um, Now I know my mission. I'm to help make other people radically successful in a good way.
Yeah.
I'm to help organizations be wonderful employees to the great human nature of doing things well. Um, and I'm to help unleash the strengths of other human beings and the formative experiences that make them who they are. And it's not in the first 10 years, I did a lot of training, train them, train them, train them. Now mine is when I meet adults, I'm meeting someone who's probably walked through fire. And if those competencies and character traits that they developed in the fire could be used to apply to the mission of the organization, if I could get that to collectively happen, we're a powerhouse. So
Yeah.
I now know my mission very clearly.
So along this journey that you've had to overcome trauma and strife and be a successful person in your life at this point, who's been that hero for you?
Oh my. I've had the good fortune to have lots of them. Heroes and mentors. I read a lot. I study history a lot because I think we should learn some lessons reflectively and not repeat them. So I look at people that did things. Come election time, I'm reading Abraham Lincoln. Um, we had a civil war. And this man guided us through. We're pretty close to that again, and I'm wondering what's the wisdom we will need to navigate us being so fractured and fractious when in fact we're called these United States. Um, I had a female mentor because I moved to Cleveland, Ohio, not as a Clevelander, and that's the first question they ask you is, are you a Clevelander? And heaven forbid that I would admit that I was from Pittsburgh with a winning ball team. That's a big deal. Now I've lived here longer than I've lived in Pittsburgh, and they still see me as an outsider.
Wow.
But I had a woman who was easily 30 years my senior, pulled me into every board I sat on, pulled me into every single sort of social circle in Cleveland that a young businesswoman would need to be in, retained me as her personal coach, retained me for her organization. And in her 90s today, she's still my mentor. We share different political views, but man, we love each other. And without those helping hands that reach out and lift you up, um, as I said to her all along, how will I ever repay your kindness? She said, Leslie, one day your influence will be great and people will seek you. When people call you up for a coffee date because perhaps they need to network, and find some counsel or network into the labor market here in Cleveland, Ohio, my only request is just say yes. That's how you repay me. So there are famous people whom I take. My two French Bulldog girls are named Helen Keller, Eleanor Roosevelt, Ellie.
Yeah.
Those are two women. Tick and Tack, the Click and Clack, the Tappet brothers. I
Uh-huh.
love humor.
Oh yeah.
I will laugh through pain, not to make fun of it, but to say in every moment it's paradoxical. Where there is grief, there is gratitude. Where there is sorrow, there is joy. So I take historical figures. They're all around us. And every single day, someone proves to me that we go to bed good, we wake up good, we're supposed to go out in the world good. Yesterday, when I was feeling a little low and racing around, I pulled into a Starbucks to get a little caffeinated sugar drink to fuel the rest of my afternoon. And when I got up and held my $20 bill out for my mocha peppermint sugar caffeine drink, the woman said to me, "The car in front of you has paid for you."
Wow.
And I was so racing, so busy, so focused. I just sat there for a minute with the bill out, and she said, "And Miss, paid for the car behind you. Here's your coffee. Here's your marshmallow dream bar." And I said, "I'll be back to do the same in a couple of days."
Yeah.
Um, my head is up, my eyes are open. I'm looking out into the world for those everyday acts of kindness. Everybody's a potential hero to me, Joe.
So, of everything that you've accomplished and done in your life, what are you the proudest of?
Oof. So many things that I never dreamed I would do: write books, travel the world, be a foreign exchange student, backpack around the world. The closest to me is this summer. Two of my French bulldogs made puppies. They're not supposed to be able to do that physiologically, and they did. That says, the Jurassic Park movie,
Yeah.
nature, it
Uh-huh.
does what it wants.
Yes.
Um, After they were C-sectioned, I was given little 2-ounce things, little small blind puppies that were smaller than mice. My mommy dog Keller, Helen Keller, who'd never been pregnant and didn't know she'd given birth because she was asleep while it happened, kept 5 little entities alive by nursing them every 2 hours for 4 weeks straight.
Wow.
I had a pack of dogs who she didn't want in the whelping room who sat at the gate sharing us power and energy. I had friends that came over and helped me get 5 little entities attached and latched. And it was like a video game or something, but it was life or death. My life came to a screeching halt. And yet, seeing them grow, and I'm just a really firm believer. I learn something every day from human beings, but I tell you, my animals teach me the best lessons. They keep me the best human being I can be. My happy quote is, my goal in life is to be as good as my dog already thinks I am.
Yeah.
So my highest accomplishment was living through the birth and keeping 5 puppies alive, healthy, happy. And now the greatest gift and the greatest lesson that I'm learning right now is generosity and love. I've got to let them go to good families.
Yeah.
Do you know how hard that is?
Oh yeah.
These little things that you love. Everything is. So this is my greatest accomplishment. I never married Joe. I never had children. I
Yeah.
think people, and I do understand when they boast about their kids. I've had an experience that is a little parallel, not complete. Mine
Sure.
don't grow to be 18,
Yeah.
but this has certainly made for an interesting summer and fall.
Absolutely. So at the end of the day, everyone out there sees you in a certain light. There's all these people,
Mm.
family,
Yep.
friends, all of your readers, clients, colleagues, but you run the show. What's your perception of you? Who do you think you are?
Yeah. I'm going to write a blog about identity later in the day.
Yeah.
I have lots of labels. I am a sister. I am an aunt. I am a great aunt. I am a friend. I am a consultant, coach, author, speaker. I live in a very nice place. I'm a dog mother. I mean, I have so many labels, and so many people choose to see and perceive me a certain way. And last December, I turned 65. This December, I'll turn 66. And people want to put on the label soon to retire. Hell no. This girl, and I'll call me a girl. I, when I moved to Cleveland and started a business, youngest in any room I walked into, only girl in every room I walked into, non-Clevelander in a very conservative Midwest town, and the only one with a soft science degree, organizational behavior, organizational development. I asked questions that these people would not have even considered. The biggest label I carried was, you are weird. I embraced my weirdness because I wasn't going to stop being female or young or care about organizational development. And I'd never be a Clevelander. Never. Not 45 years later. I'm not a Clevelander by their standards. Marcus Buckingham wrote a book a couple of years ago. It's entitled Love Plus Sign Work. And one of his chapters, and he uses a lot of metaphors, is there's a Gaelic term, weird, W-Y-R-D. It means you are a constellation of your uniqueness. That's what weird means. My constellation is, if Joe, we ever get to sit in the same room, and I would love to do that someday.
Sure.
Um, First and foremost, I'm inclusive. If there's a table set, I'll add another chair. I am honest to the point where people are, and that honesty comes in the shape of a woman's body, but I think it's the only value add in the world is for me to speak truth to power. I am loyal. Sometimes bites me back, but you know what? Once I decide we're friends, you have to really work hard to scare me away. And I am generous and altruistic to a fault, and it's a fault I will have. I trust and believe that people are basically good, well-intended, able to learn if they want to, and collectively we can do wondrous things. Mine is to go out there in the world and see if I can sort of garden that every single day. Life is not easy. It's not fair. It doesn't always fall my way. But I get up every day. I know my priorities. And I tell people they see me as very visionary, always out there with a really high risk tolerance. But people ask, what are you doing today? I said, rolling the rock up the hill.
Yeah.
I'm plodding. And they go, you're the last person who plods. And I go, no, no, no. When the list is made, the head goes down and I plod.
That's it.
That's how I get through life with a bit of a dance step and a song in my heart.
Absolutely. I totally see that. Let me ask you this. If we get off this call, time machine pulls up in front of your house, you can go anywhere in the history of time and see one event with your own eyes. Where are you going?
Wow. There's so much in history. And
Yes, there's a lot of
I have,
stuff.
I've stood at the gates of the concentration camps in Germany where they say, don't, this stands here today, so we don't make this. I've had the opportunity to go almost to every continent in the world and see what people are capable of. I've studied the rise and fall of nations. But you know what? I'm going to go with what first came to mind. I was to be speaking in windows on the river atop the Twin Towers 1 month after the planes hit.
Wow.
I was to be staying in the Marriott next door. I did do that speech in October of 2001 for the Society of Human Resource Managers. Fun at work. How do you talk about fun at work when this just happened? Um, my mom was crushed. She said, it could have been you. And I said, it wasn't my day. I'm on a lot of planes. I'm in a lot of places, Mom. Something may happen, but always know that I was fully engaged and loved my life to the minute it ended. Joe, believe it or not, I went as close tonight to the site as I could that was still burning, still smelled. But the place I would transport myself into on September 11th, 2001 would be New York City
Yeah,
because heroes were in abundance on that day.
absolutely. Absolutely. Leslie, this has been wonderful, illuminating, fantastic. Thank you. And for anyone out there that wants to pick up your books, reach out, learn more about your fascinating existence, where do they go?
So they just go to Amazon or any other online bookstores and type in Leslie Yerkes, and the six business books and three children's books will come up. If they want to subscribe to my blog, my website is www.leslieyerkes, one big old word.com. And Google me and reach out. My email's there. I relish meeting new people, Joe, because I learn from every relationship.
For sure. This has been wonderful, and I've learned quite a bit. Thank you so much. Thank you for your story, for your warmth. Best of luck with the pups and the dogs, and be well. I appreciate it.
Joe, thank you for the time. Thank you for doing what you're doing in the world.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Take care.